The information in this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Hiking and outdoor activities involve inherent risks, including injury or death. Always exercise caution, stay on marked trails, and assess conditions before proceeding. The creator assumes no responsibility for any harm, injuries, or damages that may occur. Viewers follow this guide at their own risk. National Creek Falls is located in Oregon's Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest, just west of Crater Lake, and about 30 minutes from the town of Prospect. This is a spring-fed waterfall, which means it runs strong year-round, though it's most reliably accessible from around May through October. The trail is rated moderate and comes in at just 0.8 miles out and back. The water splits into two powerful streams that tumble about 40 feet down a jagged rock wall, creating a cloud of mist in a cool, moss-draped grotto in a setting that feels incredibly remote and alive. Join me as we explore the trail, this amazing waterfall, and the two beautiful creeks that meet at the bottom. If you're driving along the northern end of Highway 230, National Creek Falls should definitely be on your list. It's just a short 12-minute drive off the main highway down a paved forest road, easy to get to and well worth the detour. Once you arrive at the trailhead, you'll find a fair-sized parking area with official spots for about 6 vehicles, plus additional room around the edges. No pass is required to park here, which is a nice bonus. There are no bathrooms or other facilities, so please come prepared. You'll find the trailhead on the south side of the parking lot. The trail starts out flat and then begins to descend, though it's not very steep at first. It isn't long before you start catching glimpses of the creek through the trees, and that alone is worth pausing for. At one of the first switchbacks, the trail opens up into a beautiful spot right where the creek flows along before going over the top of the waterfall. You can actually get some surprisingly cool views looking down over the top of the falls from here. And the creek itself at this point is absolutely beautiful. Continuing down, the trail steepens a bit as you wind through a few more switchbacks toward the base. Depending on the time of year, you may cross some small streams running across the trail, so waterproof shoes or boots are always a good call. And if you're visiting later in the season, there's a solid chance you'll encounter a fallen tree or two across the path. Just part of the experience in this wild corner of the forest. As you reach the bottom of the trail and the path levels out, you'll start to hear the waterfall getting louder. The entry point here is unlike most waterfalls I've visited. Instead of seeing the falls right away, you're greeted by a large, jagged rock formation to your left, and you can see mist rising up from behind it. The waterfall is there, but a bit hidden. You have to walk all the way to the creek's edge before it starts to reveal itself. And even then, you're only seeing part of it. But there are a few ways to get the full picture, and I'll walk you through each one. Even from the creek's edge, National Creek Falls is incredibly beautiful. At around 40 feet tall, it's not the largest waterfall in the area, but what it lacks in height, it more than makes up for in character. The water splits into two streams as it pours down the basalt cliffside, weaving past fallen trees and over mossy rocks before settling into the clear, cold creek below. A large log stretches dramatically across the face of the falls, and the constant mist that fills the air keeps the entire grotto lush and deeply green. If the creek is running low enough, you can hop across some logs or rocks to a small island that forms in the middle. It gives you a noticeably better angle on the falls, though there are even better views ahead. If you're able, I highly recommend climbing up that jagged rock area you passed on the way in. There are a couple of ways up, along the rocks themselves or around the backside. Once you're at the top, you'll get some really striking views looking down into the falls, and the mist rises right up to meet you. On a warm day, it's incredibly refreshing. Before moving on to the best viewpoint, take a few minutes to explore the creek on this side. If you head back down the trail just a little, you'll find a cut in a log that leads out to a flat, semi-open area where the creek runs through some gorgeous, quiet spots. These are wonderful places to sit have a snack, and just take it all in. Now for the best view in the house. Back along the creek, you'll notice a few fallen trees spanning all the way to the other bank. There's one that looks crossable but is a bit on the narrow side. Unless you have great balance, I'd skip it. Instead, look slightly back and to the left toward the waterfall, and you'll find two larger fallen trees. One along the shoreline, easy to identify by all the carvings on it, and one that reaches out to a grassy area in the middle of the creek. That second tree is much bigger and far easier to walk across. If you decide to cross it, please take your time and watch every step carefully. You do this entirely at your own risk. If the wood is wet from mist or rain, I'd strongly suggest putting traction straps on your shoes for extra grip, or skip it altogether if you feel at all unsure. If you make it across to that middle section, you'll have a wonderful view up the creek toward the falls. And from there, another fallen tree spans the rest of the way across to the far bank. Also easy to cross. It can be a bit muddy right at the landing, but there are usually rocks and pieces of wood to step on. Once you're across, head to the left, and you'll walk into a beautiful clearing with a perfect head-on view of National Creek Falls. There's even a log to sit on. It's hands down the best vantage point here, and it's one you'll want to spend some time at. From that clearing, you can also work your way up the right side of the falls. You can get nearly all the way to the top, with small side trails branching off that offer some really cool lateral perspectives on the cascade. And if you head down toward the base of the creek directly in front of the falls, the up-close view and the full force of the mist make for an unforgettable experience, especially on a hot summer day. Before you head back, there's one more spot I want to point out. You may have already noticed that two creeks meet here. Falls Creek converging into National Creek. If you head back to where you first reached National Creek, there's a large fallen tree you can cross over to the area where the two creeks come together. On this side, there are some beautiful spots along the bank and some lovely views back up toward the falls. But if you go left after crossing and climb over a couple more fallen trees, you'll find yourself in one of my absolute favorite spots in this entire area. It's a small, quiet valley cradled by lush trees, with ferns and moss blanketing the ground, and the creek winding through beneath a tangle of fallen logs. It is completely peaceful and wild, and it never fails to stop me in my tracks. National Creek Falls has become one of my favorites in this part of Oregon, and I think it will be one of yours too. The waterfall itself is beautiful and full of character. The grotto atmosphere is unlike anything else in the area, and the creeks that converge here add a whole extra layer of magic to the visit. Pair that with an easy drive and a short, rewarding hike, and it's just a fantastic place to spend a few hours. If you're in the area, I'd also strongly encourage you to check out the nearby Rogue River Gorge, Mill Creek Falls, Bar Creek Falls, and Avenue of the Boulders, and Pearsony Falls, all within about 30 minutes, and all absolutely worth your time. I love coming out to this corner of Oregon because there's so much to see in such a short distance. I hope you get a chance to experience National Creek Falls and all this area has to offer for yourself.